Welcome once again to Van Run 10. This is, we're back in Forza Horizon 2, and I decided to talk a little bit about Forza Horizon 3 while driving my favorite car in Forza Horizon 2. Now, this is not my favorite car, so don't sit there and say, oh, you like the Bugatti Veyron? You're an idiot. No. Has nothing to do with that. I'm not a huge fan of the Veyron. Not really a huge fan of Bugatti cars to begin with, but I love the car in this game. It seems to handle extremely well, and it's one of those cars that is, of course, very fast. You know, over 1,000 horsepower, easy, all-wheel drive. It does the job. It's a very good vehicle. I don't know, it's in Forza Horizon 1 I didn't enjoy the Bugatti Veyron that much, but in Forza Horizon 2 I loved it. I raced a lot of the little challenge races or whatever in this car because it's extremely stable, it's extremely fast. Is it the fastest car in the game? No, the EV110 is, which is also another Bugatti. But this one has good speed, and I do enjoy driving it around quite a bit. Now they're coming out with the Bugatti Chiron, which is supposed to have like 1,500 horsepower, which I don't know if you need a car that has 1,500 horsepower for the street. It's capable of over 265 miles an hour. Now the real fun part about that is the Bugatti Veyron could do 255, 256 miles an hour on a little over 1,000 horsepower. They bump up the horsepower by 500 basically, 400 or 500 horsepower, and manage to only squeeze another 9-10 miles an hour out of it. So I'm not quite sure what that's all about. You know what, I'm going to take a picture. Yes, I do this. I am one of those completionist type people, and I see I've got most of the cars, but I'm missing 11, of course. But as I see them, I'm going to take a picture. So you got to watch me take a picture of a car. I don't save them. I don't do anything like that. But you got to watch that. Now you get to see a black screen. And now we're moving on. Oh, that hurt. I also play with no damage on. I hate damaging my cars. I love the look of these things. I don't think they need to be destroyed. I'm glad they have the option to let you damage them, because I know a lot of people love to see the damage on them. I'm just not one of those people. So it's a nice option to have. Now if you hear a clicking noise in the background, I'm trying to think of a way to do this. I've got myself pretty close to my camera. So sometimes you're going to hear my controller. The clicking noise is actually the controller. So I'll try and work on stuff like that. Like I said, this is only the second video I'm doing. So, I mean, I really don't know how to solve that problem. I'll probably look it up on YouTube. Maybe I'll put, I don't know, a blanket over it or something. I don't know. But I talk about a little bit about Forza Horizon 3. The car list so far seems pretty standard. I haven't seen anything that really jumps out as a car that I want to really drive. It's like I'm not even all that real excited about the Lamborghini Centenario. I mean, it's a nice looking car, don't get me wrong. It's very beautiful, but it's just not a car I'm excited about. I was actually more excited about the Huracan. But all that being said, it's still I've looked at some of the other cars. They seem to have put in a lot of classic cars. They got an old classic Maserati that's in there now, and I don't know. So far, I'm not super sold. I'd like to see more off-road stuff. Forza 6, they put in this gigantic diesel. I don't know if you saw that. It was a giant Mercedes diesel, and it looked like it was a kick in the head to drive. Good brakes, not a lot of straight line. Top speed was only like 140, 145 miles an hour. But it was still fun to drive. Didn't always frame quite right on the video game. You try to look at it in Vista mode, and you never really could get the whole vehicle consistently on the Yes, yes. Thank you for telling me every 5 minutes I've got to spin. I get it. I know. But what I've seen so far, the car list is their basic car list. What I don't like, and I know there are other people that are kind of excited about this, they're putting race cars into Forza Horizon 3. I'm not a fan of that, and I'll tell you why. Forza Horizon, it's supposed to be kind of just driving around in regular cars, you know, production cars. To me, they're just padding the stats. They say, well, there's over 350 cars. It's like, yeah, but you're going to make 100 of those race cars that I've seen in, you know, other Forza games. And no offense, but most race cars don't really enjoy the off-road that much. Unless you're going to do a lot of stadium trucks or old off-road vehicles, you know, just old off-road vehicles, then I don't really see the need for so many race cars that they're putting out. I mean, they've got almost, I think they're going to have like the Audi prototypes in there. It's like, really, a prototype? I don't see myself ever really wanting to drive that in a Horizon game. I only really drive them in the Forza Motorsport games because it's part of the progression and you have to drive them on the tracks. But that's where a prototype car should be on the track. So I don't know. I'm curious. I don't know. I've seen a lot of other YouTubers talk about it, and they seem to be all right with it. Nobody seems to really be championing against it. Not that you're going to stop Playground Games and Turn 10 Studios from, you know, doing it, but I would rather see 350 regular cars in the game. I would rather you give me like an old Saturn than a race car. You know, put in a 1996 Ford Thunderbird, or, you know, put in just anything else, really. It's like, no race cars. Put in a Ford Maverick, 1975 Mercury Cougar. I've owned one of those. I've also owned the first car I mentioned, 96 Thunderbird. You know, there's millions of cars. Well, maybe not millions, but there are thousands and thousands of cars out there that Turn 10 could put in the game that they would not need to pad the stats with race cars. You know, and they could be common cars that we drive every day that maybe we could soup up. You know, it's like, I've always thought, what would it be like if I really had the money to really put into, you know, a 96 Ford Thunderbird, which I owned at one time. You know, really trick it out, put some new wheels on it, put a bigger motor in it, and really just, you know, and be able to drive something in the racing game that I drove in real life to kind of give me sort of a connection. You know, there's just so many other cars they could put in the game. They don't need race cars in there. All that being said, there's still going to probably be over 200 regular cars, production models type stuff. But I would really like them to thin out on the race cars. Unless they're rally vehicles, I don't really see a need to put prototype cars in there. I don't see a need to put, you know, anything from like, you know, NASCAR. I mean, I don't need to tootle around the Outback, you know, in a Sprint Cup Series car. I really don't need to do it. I don't need to. I would rather do it in the, you know, the production vehicles. Why not put a Toyota Camry in there? You don't have a Toyota Camry. Why not put the Camry in instead of the race car version of it? You don't even have a Ford Fusion in there. You know, so why not put the Ford Fusion in there? They do have the Chevy SS, but hey, we're going to take another picture. This will give me 330. It's going to be blurry. I'm not saving it, so don't worry. But yes, I'm up to 330 because I really need another $100,000. Just so you know, if I don't have that $100,000, I'd be under millions. I don't know. I have lots of money. And I pretty much bought every car in the game, so we're good. I'm trying to figure out how much time I put into this. I don't want these videos to be too much longer than 10 to 15 minutes. That's where I'd like them to sit. That all being said, the only cars I'm really looking forward to, the 1974 Sandman Ute. The Holden Ute Sandman, I think is what it's called. I'm really actually looking forward to that. It kind of looks like a hearse, but I'm really actually looking forward to it. That thing looks pretty boss. So I'm kind of excited about maybe getting my hands on that one. All of the Utes, really. The Holden Ute. I think they have the Ford Pursuit Ute. I've always kind of wanted to see those cars in Forza games, just because, of course, you know, we got to see Top Gear, and you know, Richard really loved driving around the Utes. And I've seen some of the Australian Top Gear stuff, and I think they did something on the Ute. So it's always been one of those things. I mean, to me, the Ute is really nothing more than, you know, an El Camino or a Ranchero. But America doesn't make an El Camino or a Ranchero anymore. We make SUVs, or that's all we buy anyway. Everybody in America seems to own an SUV. So, that being said, I don't think the Bugatti Veyron will be my favorite car in the next game. I don't know if it handles the same, maybe. As it sits, I just like driving this thing around. It's a great little car. I hope it's as good. But I'm not a huge Bugatti fan, and I do hit every single thing on the road. But, I don't know. I'm starting to ramble. I've been rambling. I'm going to cut the video off right about here. So if you actually watch this video, I actually get a view or two. If you liked it, like and subscribe. These are early videos. I'm hoping they will get better. These are all testing right now. This is only the second one I've done. I'll probably number them all. I'm going to try to figure out a way to get rid of the clicks and try to keep these things under 15 minutes, and we're getting too close to 15 minutes. So that all being said, thank you for watching. To the troops past, present, and future, thanks for the freedom.